Okay, guys, today we're going to be talking about mortgages and the impact that your credit score can have on your cost. The mortgages that we're going to be talking about are going to be a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Okay, that to me is one that we will. It allows for the most flexibility, even though over the life of the 30 years you're going to pay tremendous amounts of interest. It is the one that is going to lower your payments and allow you to grow into that payment system. Now, you don't have to wait the entire 30 years to pay it off. You can overpay along the way, and you can do smaller payments to pay off principal only portions to reduce your principal and shorten the term of your mortgage. So I'll talk more strategies about that in a later video when we talk about amortization. But here we're just really focusing on um, the cost. So if we're taking a look at this, I'm almost assuming if you want to buy a starter home in Bergen County, New Jersey, or even Passaic County, New Jersey, you're going to need close to $500,000. Okay, so if you are buying a home for $500,000, that means we want to put $100,000 down. Okay, so we'll have 100,000 equity. When we say $100,000 down, that's a down payment on the property. So the property itself, or the home that we would be buying, would be $500,000. We're buying at 100,000 with our money and 400,000 from the bank. Okay, so really the bank owns the majority of the property right now, and you own about what we should try to put down is at least 20%. 20% will be a nice buffer in case the value of your home drops. And so we'll talk about a property being underwater in a later video. Um, but this mortgage and the numbers that I got here are a little bit dated. Okay, but if interest rates are falling right now, so this number is closer to 3.5 as of this morning, and perhaps it's going to be falling. But if I used this interest rate from a little while ago, and that would be the interest rate that I would get if my credit score was between 760 and 850. Okay, I got this from practicalmoneyskills.com. There's a mortgage calculator, and if I'm borrowing this much with this interest for a 30-year fixed, this is going to be my monthly payment, $1,842.72. That's my monthly payment for the entirety of the 30-year loan. This is the best price we can possibly get. Now, if I'm buying the same home, same 30-year fixed mortgage, same $400,000 mortgage, $100,000 down, but my credit score was only, let's say, between 680 and 699. Now my interest rate is going to be 4.106%. And that means if I'm putting in the same information into practicalmoneyskills.com, that means my monthly payment is going to be $1,934.19 for the entirety of the 30 years of my loan. That's a difference between perfect credit and just like A minus credit of $91 every single month. That's almost $1,100 a year, and that's 33,000, close to $33,000 over the 30 years that I'm going to pay more than the person with perfect credit for the same exact house. Okay, that's how we're reading this table right now. So let's say that's A minus, B plus, B. Let's go to B minus credit. Okay, so I'm in the 620 to 639. Okay, I'm borrowing at 5.296%. Okay, $400,000, 30-year fixed. Okay, we're looking at a monthly payment of $2,220.23. Okay, this is B minus. A B minus isn't bad. Okay, but in the scope of things, it's very expensive. I'm going to be paying $377.51 more than the person with perfect credit every single month for the same property. Okay. Over the year, that's $4,500 more that I'm wasting. Okay. Over the life of the loan, it's like putting another down payment on a house. Okay. Now, when we get into this range, these are what's quoted, but many times lenders don't want, if they don't think that if your credit score is saying that you may not get your money back, many people don't want to lend to you. Okay. So if they're going to take that risk, they're going to want to be compensated. But now they're charging you close to 10% for like D credit. So this is why it's so important that when we're in the market for a house, like we want to start the home buying process 2 to 3 years before we actually buy the house, because those 2 to 3 years before are not just to do our research and our homework on where we want to live, what we want to buy. It's to repair our credit score. Okay. So over 2 years, you can significantly raise your credit score if you're paying everything in full and on time, making sure no late fees and everything gets paid. You can really substantially move up this and save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars in the process. So, really, this is where we want to get to. Okay. But if we can go from, let's say, a C plus to an A minus, that can save you thousands of dollars in the process. Okay. And the same is true for auto loans. Now, I only looked at a 36-month auto loan. That's a 3-year loan. That's really my recommendation for the length of an auto loan. It should be about 3 years. Okay. Um, and we'll talk about depreciation of the vehicle. Just like a property, a home could be underwater, your car could be underwater too. So if you get a 5-year loan, a 60-month auto loan, or a 72, which I've actually seen recently, um, the depreciation of your the value of your car when you drive off the lot, it could be so severe that um, the if you had to sell the car, you couldn't pay off the loan, and you'd be very much underwater. So a 3-year is a good one to avoid um, that kind of scenario. Now, in this case, you can see it's not as stark, but in 3 years, difference between A plus credit and your D credit, it's an extra $2,000 for the same car. Okay, so it's not as noticeable in this range because it is such a short term loan. But the longer the loan, the more drastic the difference is going to become. But even still, even if you're paying over 3 years an extra $750, that's $750 you shouldn't have to spend because that's all interest. And that's just because our credit score wasn't as good as we needed it to be. Okay, now, once I put together this, we're going to talk about the rule of 72. Rule of 28. I'm sorry. The rule of 28 is 28% of your gross income before taxes, okay, can go to your mortgage payment or your housing payment. Okay, so if we're looking at the same thing again, I just took the numbers from the previous page. Here were all the monthly payments for the different credit ratings. But what I did is now I said, I'm going to take this monthly payment, I'm going to divide it by 0.28, and this is going to be the monthly income that you need to comfortably manage that monthly payment. Okay, so if I have perfect credit and that's my monthly payment, okay, I need to be making 6581.14 per month gross. That's before taxes, and that means I need to have a yearly income of at least right around $79,000 in order to meet that mortgage payment for that $500,000 house and that $400,000 mortgage. But now, as my credit score goes up, so must my yearly salary in order to manage that higher monthly payment. Okay. So as I go down to A minus credit, you can see I'm going to need about $3,000 or $4,000 more just to manage that same mortgage for that same house. Okay. If we're down in this D credit area, you can see we're going to need to make $150,000 a year to maintain that $3,500 mortgage. So your credit score is hugely important in the cost of those big things. So when we're borrowing for automobiles, when we're borrowing for homes, we want to make sure our credit is in tip top shape so that we pay the best prices available.